So, a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to LarinasLabyrinth. If you're new to the channel, I'm Anah Parreli, and of course, I make all the content that you find on here. Our primary motivator is about sharing information with people as part of growing this pool of knowledge. If you're a returning visitor, just want to acknowledge you and say, look, thank you very much for your ongoing support. I've been a little bit erratic over the last couple of weeks. I'll talk about that in a moment. Well, more than a couple of weeks. As you know, I've sort of struggled to do the Sunday yarning weekly, and so therefore there's been 2 weeks between loading on the Sunday. Anyway, for those people that are new to the channel, I do try and put up the Sunday yarning every week on the Sunday, as I mentioned. Obviously, sometimes things interfere, priorities shift. But anyway, the bottom line is whatever videos I put up on the channel, I tend to put timing stamps in because I can go on a waffle. Sometimes I actually start sharing experiences, and if people are in a rush, time is a premium for them. So if there's something there of interest for you, it's going to be in the description and it's going to have a timing stamp there. What else can I say? Oh, yes, of course. Just checking my notes. I do a transcript. I just don't always stick to it. Yes, I invite everybody to share their information and make comments as well if they might be able to add value, you know what I mean, to the whole group experience. Without further ado, I'm just going to say, look, thank you for being part of my journey, newbies and returning visitors. It's a glorious day here in Perth, and I haven't started on the gratitude, but I say thank God for that. Because I just don't cope well with bad weather, and we've had a particularly long winter here in Perth, and so to have the blue skies free of, we've got a little bit of cloud as I look out the window, but they're just the little white fluffy ones, so plenty of sunshine. Very, very long winter it's been. Anyway, without further ado, let's get in. And I'll start with gratitude because I've already touched on it. This week, in fact, I'd go a little bit further and say, the last 2 weeks have been particularly trying, certainly within a family perspective. We all have family stuff happen, as you know. This week, though, I'm particularly grateful for my family. I want to do a shout out to the family members because, as with all families, my family, and I imagine most families, there can be conflict at different times. There can be estrangement. There can be people not talking to each other. There can be, good relationships between parties at different times and all the rest of it. And so sometimes, when things go a bit pair and square, you do wonder whether or not those bridges can be built. But where I'm going to with this, why I feel grateful for my family, is that over the last fortnight, differences have been put aside, and this is because there was a family crisis occur. Now, if you saw a post when I put up why I wasn't loading some videos at the moment, this is because, and I'm going to be a little bit explicit here without going into too much detail, within the family unit there was a mental health crisis. And when a mental health crisis, if anybody is a carer or has a family member, as I stumble over my words, you'll know where I'm going with this. It becomes very stressful, very distressing, and it has a domino effect. And this is because it's so difficult to get supports. In the first instance, a lot of the time, the person that is unwell doesn't want to actually engage with the support services. And then the thing is, if they are willing to engage, it's sometimes, because I've done the disability advocacy, so if you're new to the channel, I've just got to have a cough, sorry. Those people that are new to the channel won't know that I have a Bachelor of Social Work, and in my previous work roles, I used to do a lot of advocacy for people of varying backgrounds, whether it was housing and tenancy, if people were at risk of homelessness. And one of the areas of advocacy that I worked in was actually disability and mental health, advocating for people like my family member. Now, you would think it might be easier for me to do it because I've got the background and training, but the reality is that when my family member becomes unwell, it's equally difficult for me shall we say, in the first instance, to get past those barriers, to get the appropriate services in place. And where I'm lucky, I think it's because I actually know how to argue it, and I can fall back on the law. I can mention to them when they are discriminating and when they're making harmful decisions. Anyway, that requires a bit of a fight, shall we say. Not necessarily the fists out, but sometimes when you're approaching it, it feels like a fight for life. And so, where I'm going with this is it tends to fall on me within the family unit, and that's kind of understandable. So, it means that I'm making a lot of phone calls, I'm arguing with a lot of professionals, which are basically the intake people, and it just becomes so stressful. Anyway, where I'm going with this is, in this particular instance, what was absolutely wonderful was that the family pulled together, not just cohesively to try, because there's that gap that you get before you can get the person in with the services. The person is extremely distressed and they need to get support. They need to have somebody to talk to, and they need to have somebody that's understanding, compassionate, non-judgmental, and all of that kind of thing. So this is one of the first times I've actually been able to get the family on board and explain to them how to be sensitive and responsive in helpful ways to the person that's having a crisis, while we break down those barriers to get them into the professional supports. And what I would say too, I'm so impressed by the family pulling together to support the family member in crisis, but also because in this instance, I feel that I personally was supported as well, and people realised in the family that it's quite stressful as the person that has to go and navigate all these barriers. But suffice to say, happy outcomes. The person now has support, and I am grateful, really grateful to those family members that stepped up to the plate and helped myself out. And well, we all helped each other anyway. So job well done. Thanks, guys. So just an extension of the gratitude as well, and perhaps even sharing with you a strategy that I have to manage some of the difficulties that I have to address at different times. And to me, I get, I suppose, benefit from being outside in the garden. I like to sit out in the garden. That helps me to relax and to still my mind when it's very busy in these types of situations, more so than other times. But I was just thinking, look, no, I'm always grateful for plants and animals and the beauty of nature, the wonder of nature. But I guess it has a stronger impact to me during crisis, and I tend to pay more attention to the symbolism aspects of the animals that come into the garden, and even the insects. And this is because animals or birds can fly through your garden, and they just seem to be passing by. They might be flying overhead. When a bird comes up and basically sits right in front of you, to me, that is symbolic. That is telling me that I need to go and Google, if I don't remember what the animal wisdom is, because I've got a spirit message, if you like. And so where I'm going with this is, I'm grateful for the ring-necked parrot that arrived and turned up in my garden and got in my face, because we call them 28s actually, because I knew immediately when it arrived that it was a happy message. And when I Googled the message, it actually was a very timely message for me as I was navigating the barriers to healthcare. And it was basically, stay alert, be observant. I needed to be observant. I needed to monitor the person's health condition to make sure it didn't become more serious, shall we say. Plus, I had to be mindful of my speech, and I had to be diplomatic. And this is actually the core messages of parrot wisdom. What else have I got? Just basically the message was, listen, pay attention, be careful what you say, okay? But also to speak effectively. So very timely message for me over the last week or so. And the other visit I got was from a dragonfly. Now, dragonflies are hugely symbolic to me. I absolutely love it. When they turn up in my garden or anywhere, I just feel completely and utterly blessed. And this is because I associate dragonfly with transformation and change. And when you're going through a crisis, as we were, the thought of transformation provides hope. So it's a very hopeful message. But what I did was I Googled the meaning, the animal wisdom, for the purposes of this video, just to give you an extra strategy that works for me. It might work for you. Anyway, there's a couple of key search words that I will put in when I'm trying to find it. And not every page, I've got to say, when the links come up, it might have animal wisdom, dragonfly, and I can look at that and think, yeah, no, that doesn't really resonate, and then I'll check out another link and it'll be, yes, that's the one that works for me. That seems to fit my situation. So that's how I operate. And so the key words that I'll search will be animal wisdom, animal symbolism. I'll name it as well, dragonfly symbolism or dragonfly wisdom. Other times I'll look for dream interpretations, because if I can't find something, the dream stuff sometimes resonates as well. But anyway, when it comes to the dragonfly, it confirmed to me when I did my Googling that it is about transformation, but it's also about adaptability, to be able to see beyond the illusion. When drama presents in our life, it can present with hopelessness or despair or whatever, but when we can shift past that, then we can see that this is a growth, shall we say, it's a growth episode for all of us, I guess, in this particular instance that I'm referring to. But it also represents, I'm talking about the dragonfly, represents new beginnings and resilience and being able to live in the moment and to connect. It encourages a person to connect to their inner wisdom. And so for me, it was relevant because it was a real message of hope, shall we say. So where the other one was a message of guidance, or this is how I interpret it, the 28 for me was a message of guidance and how to respond to the dramas that were occurring. And the dragonfly becomes that message of hope for me that, it's all going to be okay. It's just a timely reminder. And these are all part of the strategies that I employ during dramas, just to remain hopeful, because, hey, we're all human. And when somebody in the family is having a mental health crisis, it can be quite distressing, as I say. So we've got to maintain our own emotional regulation. We've got to remain calm as well, because becoming overly caught up in the crisis actually becomes very unhelpful. It's a matter, this is how I've worked out how to do it, and what my training would say as well, is that during a crisis we need to be calm, because we don't want to escalate the crisis with other people. And also, post-crisis, if we've become too distressed when that person is unwell, quite often what will happen is that they will not let us know the next time they become unwell, because most people who become unwell actually don't want to worry their family. So it's really important for us to be able to go with the flow. So just sharing some tips with you, as well as my experience of gratitude. And I'm going to now leave that behind and move on with the channel update. I'll start with the information about the next event, which, just a reminder for those people that do attend, it is on the second Wednesday of every month. I have now loaded the tickets on Eventbrite if you want to go and book for the night. Of course, we've got a capacity of 25. If you didn't make it last time, or if you think about coming for the first time and you're local to Perth, Western Australia, it was a really good night last time. And while it was a smaller group, as I said, we've got a capacity for 25, and we ended up having a couple of cancellations. And probably because I didn't promote it until late, we only had, I think, about 15 bookings, and probably about 10 people turned up, which I actually enjoyed, because I got the opportunity to do some tarot reading. There was another girl, Olwen, there. She delivered some tarot readings as well. It was all just a bit of fun. And Karen, I think Karen gave about 4 mediumship readings. She does try to be there every time. And if you're hoping for one, just remember this is Karen's free time, so don't count on it. If you get one, you get one, is where I'm going. Same as if I manage to deliver readings. I can't always do it, simply because of time and depending on how many people are there. But I do enjoy doing the card readings as well. Anyway, bottom line, tickets are up. Second Wednesday of November. As far as December goes, yes, I have booked the room and I have scheduled, I'm getting ahead of myself, yay, finally getting back on track. I have scheduled on Eventbrite for the December event to be published basically straight after the November event so that people can get their tickets in early. So that is about the Tarot, Tea and Crystals night. Oh, did I mention? I will put a link to the tickets in the description of the video. And just a reminder, it is a free event, okay? There's no charge. So as far as the website goes, just a progress report on that. As people are aware, that kind of took a back burner, and I have managed to achieve some stuff. It is happening slowly and surely, and I'm getting there, but it is not happening super fast. Feel free to check it out, by the way, and give me your feedback if you've got any thoughts or suggestions. So as far as the chakra content goes, I have actually made some significant progress this week despite everything that's been going on. I have finished off all the 7 major chakras is loaded now. The content is up there, and that includes the Bindu chakra, which I've got this image here. That's actually an image that I've created for the website to show people where it's located. So I've done the Bindu chakra. I also have done the Earth Star chakra. And I will be getting on to, to be honest, I had actually hoped that I would get the Rainbow Chakra and the Kundalini Chakra content done today before I did this video. But I've got to admit, it's been a beautiful day, so I haven't worked as hard as I could have. Anyway, it's Sunday, all right? I'll try and finish it tomorrow. But yeah, so Bindu Chakra is done. Kundalini and Celestial, also known as Rainbow Chakra, still to be done. I forgot to mention, with the chakra content, what I have to do is look at the formatting as well as put up the content for the last 2 chakras. And this is because some people work off a computer like what I do, and some people use their phone to access information. So it's formatted for a computer view at the moment, and I need to review the formatting for the phone view if you're working and looking and searching off your phone. So that will be on the radar as one of the next tasks as well. And hopefully that will be done over the next couple of days. What I wanted to draw your attention to with this particular slide is actually sacred geometry, because I've done the content on Earth Star, and because I'm talking about the symbolism of the chakras as well on the website, I thought, it's actually probably a good time to talk to people about sacred geometry, because when we talk about the symbolism for the Earth Star chakra, which sits below your feet, it's symbolized by a tetrahedron, if I can say the word tetrahedron. Anyway, that kind of goes into sacred geometry and what is known, certainly within spiritual or religious fields or whatever, as Metatron's cube. So the image on the right is actually called Metatron's cube. But what am I going to say about that? Metatron's cube is basically considered a blueprint. It's a universal blueprint because apparently every single naturally forming thing on the planet comes down to this sacred image, if you like. And where I say it's a cube, well, it kind of is if you were looking at it 3-dimensional. But within the cube, you have, in this instance, it's actually got a tetrahedron, which you can't really see because it just looks like a whole bunch of lines. But it's also what I wasn't aware of with Metatron's cube. I knew that it was considered to have sacred form because a lot of the old temples, particularly the Muslim ones, are all designed around Metatron's cube. And this is why you see them where they've got the center of any of these architectural structures, where they've got the open space, the gathering space, and that's in many ways, I guess, referred to as the holy point. But what I didn't know was actually even flowers. Every single flower, apparently, if you look at it in enough detail, will actually have this design to it. So The other thing that I would say is, while we're looking at a tetrahedron in this particular design, the right-hand image, you can actually have a cube in there, you can have an octahedron, a dodecahedron, and I'm not quite sure what an icosahedron, I can't even pronounce it. I'm not quite sure what shape that is. I'll have to actually do a Google later. But anyway, it's from a subject, it's sacred geometry is something that I've looked at, but I haven't gone hugely into. However, I do recommend people at least take a look enough to really understand Metatron's cube, for want of a better description. So anyway, once I've completed the chakra content, I actually do have content up, but I don't think it's visible to you yet, on the sacred breathing and the spiritual hygiene. It will be easier for me just to link that content together and publish it. And then, excuse me as I swallow, I've actually been eating in between recording. Whoops. The next one that I'll focus on will be the content of centering and grounding activities, and how to balance and energize your chakras, how to align them, and then how to do the work on your own aura as well, to make sure that they're all working, I guess, to the maximum capacity that they can work for you. I don't think it'll take me too long, because I've got a lot of that content already set aside, and it really just needs to be reviewed and uploaded. However, I must say, look, it is a little bit irritating even for me when I'm loading the content, because it can be quite slow as far as change goes, because it's like every time I put content on there, the website, the host or the provider, it ends up doing an autosave, and that can actually be a little bit slow sometimes. I think, and also the other thing that delays me is because once I start doing things, I realize that I need to actually have some artwork. So I will stop loading content and then go onto the artistic and creative design aspects, I guess, just to make the website look a little bit nicer and to have it flow easier. But yeah, the centering and grounding stuff is there. It's not far away. So as far as the Crystal Magic playlist update goes, look, really, that's been very slow moving over the last fortnight, but I'm actually getting on top of it. Last night and today I was doing templates, getting ready for the next videos to come out. As far as crystal products go, I actually did have a box delivered, but I haven't even opened it yet. I'll have a look at that over the next couple of days. I can't even remember what I ordered. I'm pretty sure that I've got some honey calcite in the rough, and I think I've got some pyrite there. I managed to pick up some pyrite for a good price, I think. Can't remember now. So it'll be like, I guess it'll be like a lucky dip and surprise for me when I finally open it. So as for the videos that have been loaded, look, Caribbean Calcite went up. That was actually delayed. I think that was supposed to go up last week, but it's been put up this week. So anyway, that's accessible for you now. I also managed to get the Sugilite video up, and I've got to say, I have got a real thing for Sugilite now, and I don't actually have it in my collection. So I'm going to be looking for somebody that I can buy it from, because I really, really like it, and I'm very drawn to it. Certainly by the image anyway. Prehnite. So I've done the template for Prehnite. I just actually have to add the audio. But this is another one of my favourite crystals that has been part of my collection throughout the years. I'm not sure if I've got any Prehnite actually at the moment. For those that are new to the channel, you won't know that I actually ended up being parted from my crystal collection some years ago, and so more recently I've been building it up again, and I definitely would like to have some Prehnite back in it, and some good chrysoprase actually. I think I forgot to mention that, all things going well, that Prehnite will be loaded on Tuesday, and on Thursday the intention is to load the video on Staurolite, the crystal that we see here, or stone if that's what you want to call it. I used to have some Staurolite as well as some Chiastolite, and they're just beautiful, beautiful crystals, actually. I can imagine some people that are looking at this photo going, you think? It just looks like a little bit of a stone to me. Yeah, look, okay, it does look like a stone, but there's something about it when you hold it in your hand. It is just absolutely beautiful. So I love Staurolite. I also think, to be honest, the fact that Mother Nature can form a stone to look like this, I'm in awe of. I think that's wonderful. Anyway, my friends, I'm pretty pleased with the fact that I've been able to keep this video under half an hour. And if I'm quick here, then I'll definitely be under half an hour. Before I close out, though, with the thank you for being part of my journey again, just something I thought of as I was making the video is when it comes to disability advocacy and understanding the law, I may need to put together a video for people in Australia on how to navigate these systemic barriers. I'll give thought and consideration to it, but if you want information, certainly by all means, send me a message through my website at LarinasLabyrinth.com, and I'm happy to share information that way on how you can navigate some of these boundaries. In the meantime, though, I'm just going to say, look, love you, leave you. Thanks for being part of my journey. Have a wonderful day, blessed week, take care, and bye-bye. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.